Okay, so welcome to our second podcast. Our pilot podcast before Christmas went really well. Well, we felt it did, and we're sitting on about 700 views on that at the moment. So just so you know that the YouTube channel that it's on is Top Presents Worthing, so please subscribe to that. In terms of email, you can contact us at toppresentsworthing@gmail.com. Later in this podcast, we're going to be talking to Kerry and Stephen from the factory. And then we've also got a local band on this month we're really excited by. So we've got Alex and Helena from Hissy and the Fits.
And next month's one, which we're planning already, we will have a Bar 42 special where we'll be talking to Mark Knowles and Mike Baker and a few clips from Bar 42.
Okay, so this month we've got a competition which is to win 2 tickets to see The Beat at the Factory live in Worthing on Saturday the 12th of April. 2025, of course, with support from London-based ska outfit, the Trojan Beats. To win, you just need to answer this question. What was the name of the iconic frontman of The Beat who took over from Dave Wakeling back in 1978? And here are the listings coming up for the next 2 months.
Coming up at Coast, the Worthing Techno Militia have got Kerry and Trésor on the 15th of February. And on the 28th of February at Coast, there's another Snake Pit for you, all you goths.
Coming up at the Dickens, on the 7th of February, we've got a Hammer Down, which is chapters plus support. On the 14th of February, we've got a Valentine's Day Massacre. It's kind of an anti-Valentine's Day gig that's put on by ourselves. That's Top Presents. That's headlined by the Credentials with support from Ducks, the Dead Bottomless, and Noise Ferrato. Also at the Dickens coming up at the end of January, Hammer Down have got a gig on 31st of January, which is Archers Killing Archers with Concordia and the Dead Red Lips. And then finally at the Dickens, well not finally, but finally in upcoming months, we've got a fundraiser coming up at the Dickens on February the 28th. The lineup's to be announced, but the idea of the fundraiser is that we're going to be trying to get money together for the backline
Decent
in particular.
Backline for and they've got the Cellar Arts, the first punkish noise-ish of 2025 is on the Sunday the 16th of February.
This month we're proud to present our guests from the factory, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves because they know themselves better than I do and they know their role.
You know me very well, Colm, to be fair.
Indeed, yeah.
My name's Stephen. I am the marketing and programming manager at the Factory Live. I've been in arts marketing for just over a decade now. Not really sure how I got into this weird, wonderful world, but I wouldn't ask for anything else. And the Factory Live is an amazing place to be. I love live music. I love seeing the joy in people's faces at every gig when they're experiencing something that they love. And I think that's probably why, we're all here today. So that's a bit about me.
Fabulous, thank you.
My name's Kerry. I'm part of the management team at the Factory Live. I don't really have a job title. I tend to mop up everything else that nobody else is doing.
Very useful.
Like Stephen, it's a great environment to work. I've not worked in live music before, even though historically enjoyed a lot of going to gigs. So it's a really lovely environment to be in, and it's really great to see people and be part of people having a really good evening out and enjoying that.
Awesome. So my first question is mostly aimed at you, Kerry, because Stephen's young and fresh-faced.
What are you saying?
He's extremely young and fresh-faced. It was about when did the factory open and what's the brief history of the factory?
Okay, so the factory opened in 2019, which was probably the worst timing in history for a live music venue. The studios predated that by quite some years, and it grew. The idea of the music venue came out of, being a natural progression of the rehearsal studios, and about kind of taking that on to the next level and having the opportunity within the building, because there was space to build a bespoke music venue. So obviously a bit of a bumpy start after COVID.
Well, how did you get through COVID? Because I remember there was a few things you put on towards the end. I can't remember the restrictions. There were so many rules.
Kind
of like cabaret style seating, wasn't there? And
so they we did what we could. within the restrictions, and as you say, put on, we're creative in how we managed to continue doing some performances within that time. But it's a shame that it was so close to the beginning of the factory, because obviously that period of becoming established was longer and more difficult in what is already quite a difficult industry to try and establish yourself. So
I guess it's really in the last 2 years that you've kind of kicked on and kind of gone from where you were and been more secure in terms of putting on cover bands and that kind of thing, and then really in the last year and now this year kind of really more interesting from our point of view, original acts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's it's still in the process of establishing itself and of building its reputation, and and getting to the point where, although we'll never be satisfied where it is, we'll always find room for improvement. But yes, I think you're right. I think it's it's really gained momentum over the last sort of 18 months or so.
Yeah, excellent.
When you open pretty much 3 nights, is it 3 nights every week or virtually every week now? And that's a lot. That's 150 nights a year, isn't it? Which is about 140 more than a certain other venue. You won't remember anyway. But I mean, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah. So my ideal is that you get towards the end of the week and you can look at what's on in Worthing and you get a choice of things to go to, because I've lived in Worthing for the last 12 years, and I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was working at Worthing Theatres, still involved in it all, and we were like, where's the live music in Worthing? And not just talking about pub gigs, but like proper gigs, original gigs, and the answer was, well, there just really isn't much.
As soon as 42 went, that was a big, and we're speaking to them next time, but that was a big miss, wasn't it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I fell in love with the place about a year before it closed, so I just got the kind of sense of magic, and then you couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was sad. So yeah, I mean, the aim is as many gigs as possible, as high quality, and giving the people what they want. Which we can dive into a bit more.
Yeah. So what are the big couple of things that you've got coming up next year? If you had to name 2. Because I can think of 2.
Oh, 200.
Yeah, go on, 2.
150.
Oh, wow. I think for me, there's different scales of big. There's big in the sense that having the likes of someone like Graham Goldman come back and Hot House Flowers are, they were here in 2023, and that's very exciting. But, when I think of big this year, I'm looking at the things that we haven't achieved before. One of those is tapping into dub and reggae. Mm-hmm. We did a Bob Marley night last year, and it was really, really popular and well received. So I was like, the next step is to find the biggest original names you can get in that field.
You've got African Head Charge, haven't you? And Dread Zone, which is sort of dub, isn't it? It is. So there's a lot of people excited about that.
Yeah,
I've seen African Head Charge for 20 years. Yeah, so,
It's brilliant. Yeah. So and it's always a risk, that my role is so risky in the sense that, will Worthing want this? Can we cover the fees of these larger artists? But I think if you do your research properly and you look at artists and they're good enough, then you 99% of the time will be successful. So as Kev said, Dread Zone and African Head Charge, and then just generally the wider punk stuff, which I think we might dive into.
I think Kev's going to ask you about that in a minute. I'm going to just ask you a little bit about Grass, about what you think you can do to support, or what you are doing, have done to support like grassroots music and local bands and college bands. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Kerry alluded to earlier, we're certainly on a journey of figuring out how we operate in a financially sustainable way, put on as much original music as possible, while supporting that grassroots scene. We're also recognising the size of our venue and what works and doesn't work. So the first step I took was to meet with Mike Pelthorpe at Northbrook College. Was at a very nice relationship with him through Worthing Theatres, and he's such the lifeblood of the new generation coming through. I asked what they were looking for and what they needed as part of their kind of course and opportunities. And
he's actually this week put forward a couple of students towards us who might be involved, helping get involved in either Q&A or some of the post filming work to do with this podcast. So that's
brilliant.
really good.
So I just said, like, here's some opportunities for them. So we do it quarterly at the end of each of their term, and I just said to Mike, you can have the venue, you can put on as many bands as you like, and let's make it happen. And that's really, really lovely, that partnership. And then that then goes into if we put on big tribute nights and you're going to bring in a sellout gig of 285, how can we get new original bands in front of all those people? And so wherever possible, we try and get an original act to support a big tribute. My favourite example.
That's a really good. I think that's a great move. A lot of them don't do that, but I really think that is, because you get the different age groups as well. Because a lot of those punk bands are going to be not young, shall we say? And putting younger bands on, it's brilliant for them, and it's good for the old punks as well. It keeps them on their toes. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's a really good move. Yeah, rather than just another sort of pub rock. Because I've seen enough old punk bands, and it's just some dreadful.
I think last year you had support somewhere along the lines. You had Clubheads on, which are like a 3-piece.
Yeah,
really
I was just going to mention
band. That. Really, I mean, they're what are they? 21, 22. I'm not sure. They're young and lots of attitude, lots of energy.
So one of my favourite examples was we did one of our Northbrook nights, and I promised the kids. I said, kids, they're 16 to 18. I said, you guys perform here, and if anyone stands out, we'll give you that opportunity. So we had a band called Galoma, which is just a 2-piece. And I saw them and I thought they were brilliant. So we had our sold out Kerrang tonight, and I gave them the opportunity to perform. And people were commenting on Facebook the next day saying how great they were. And since that gig, they had several more gigs, one in Charles Dickens, one in Brighton. So that was really good. And I guess for the future, to answer your question a bit more quickly, is I want to find out ways that I can work with other venues that are more suitable to put on grassroots nights, in a lower cap that we can perhaps support financially, as well as, maybe bi-monthly grassroots nights at the Factory Live. So big things ahead for that. And
well, these can be your punters down the line as well, can't they?
Absolutely.
That's the beauty. I mean, 2 or 3 years' time, hopefully, these will be regulars coming to stuff as well, won't they? That's what it's all about, because it is harder and harder to get youngsters to come. If you can mix it up, I think, because you used to see a lot of that at 42. Old gits like me and young kids 16, in the same room watching the same bands. It's got to be the way forward, hasn't it, really?
What I love about the Northbrook nights is it just reminds me of my SU days at uni. That it's like a club, everyone just getting together and have a good night out.
Because they're not drinking, because, talk about the punk gigs, got a lot of punk. I mean, I know for a fact, old punk gigs, I bet the bar takings are probably, they're certainly going to be a lot higher than the student nights. So, I mean, that is, the bar take is crucial, isn't it, really? That is really what it makes everything worth it. So, I mean, so you've got quite a lot of old punk bands coming up, and hopefully we're doing a festival as well. So tell us a bit about that. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kerry, do you want to talk about that? Because I know you quite enjoy a bit of punk rock, don't you?
I do indeed. So as we were talking about earlier, we've got I can't remember the order.
You've got Anti-Nowhere League.
Anti-Nowhere next.
They're in February.
Yeah,
can't remember the date. I'm going to go for 17th. But it might not.
Saturday, 15th of February.
Close.
And that's got some two. I think you said about it earlier. Two
local bands, isn't it? Yeah.
Local bands supporting
Credentials
and Fat Problem.
Problem.
Both of which are really great bands that are kind of full of energy, and like you were saying, Kev, it's really good to have like that. They're both young, bands of young people to have that crossover. UK Subs, I guess, is probably the biggest name that we're looking at. Isn't it? And then Cockney Rejects later in the year. So, a fantastic lineup from that. And certainly names that are on the kind of top end of our
well, you can't go much higher than that. You can't go a lot higher than that without a big. They're all, because they're the sort of bands that play the Con Club in Lewes. In a way, you're getting that, aren't you? You're getting quite similar to the Con, and the Con Club's fantastic. And luckily, it's just far enough away, isn't it? I quite often think bands can play in. You can play in Worthing and in Lewes. You probably couldn't play in Worthing and Brighton, or Brighton and Lewes. It's far enough, isn't it? Because the demographic for you guys is Bognor, Chichester, Horsham, and places. It's a bloody long way from Chichester to Lewes, isn't it?
I think there's quite a lack of outside of Worthing. good music venues in West Sussex
Yeah,
compared to East Sussex, right?
totally. Yeah.
And yeah, to add to what Kerry said, UK subs 22nd of May, which we have Guitar Gangsters supporting, and
Spock on the bus.
Spock on the
Spock
bus.
on the
Lovely
bus.
Spock on the bus.
Um,
It's such
yeah.
an amazing opportunity for like the Fat Problem, Credentials, Spock on the Bus, etc. It's such an amazing opportunity for those bands to step up and support, like punk heroes. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and some really big conversations for 2026 as well. So I know I've hinted to you guys. So fingers
Yeah.
crossed those things come off.
So you're pretty confident the way things are going forward. I mean, already a lot more people are talking about it in different ways. Because in my shop, I get a lot of people talking about different venues and stuff like that, and it generally seems for us, we think, because you can just do tributes, but. People want a bit of both, don't they? Or heritage bands, as they're now called, aren't they? All these old punk bands and old metal bands of heritage. That does make me feel old.
I think the balance is everything.
Yeah.
Doing it in a financially sustainable way and giving people what they want, whilst providing opportunities for local bands and as much original music as possible. And we're certainly heading in that direction. And with the support of people of Worthing and connections such as yourself. We've all got to work together.
I think this could be, as long as people have got some money to come out and spend, which is going to be an option. It's going to be a problem, but hopefully, with that, what you're doing, Dickens, and a few other things we're doing, Audio Active, etc., or Beats and Eats, as it's called.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
Lots of potential. So I just wanted to finish by just thanking you both for all your hard work in support of local original music and bringing these bands into Worthing, and really looking forward to working with you, and thank you for supporting the podcast as well.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Thanks
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
And keep up the great work with the podcast.
absolutely.
Very exciting.
So this month we've got with us Helena and Alex, who are from the local band Hissy and the Fits. So my first question to you guys is, where exactly did the name Hissy and the Fits come from?
Because Hissy Fits was taken. But band names like Susie and the Banshees and Iggy and the Stooges, like that,
It's kind of classic.
Yeah. It just
And
works.
It just works. And I know no one wants to be pigeonholed, but I'm going to do it, sorry. But
Go on.
kind of, where are you in terms of like influences, and what kind of style or genre would you say your band fits into, if you had to kind of condense it down?
Bit punky, bit metally, bit garagey, We listen to all sorts of music, really, though, all four of us.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
a bit of everything.
could say that, yeah.
Yeah. So you say there's the four of you. So who else? What do you all play? And who are the other two members of the band?
What do you do?
I shall.
They do sing as well.
Rob plays drums, Walter Lombre, and Connor is our bassist. And they're not here because they're both on antibiotics. But we did a show in Chichester on Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
And
Best
they
gig,
were really unwell, but they still did it, and it was really
best
cool.
gig we've ever done.
Where's
Yeah.
so
that
far.
then? Chichester. What venue?
The Havana.
Oh right, don't know that. Oh.
It's like a repurposed subway. Or
It's
something,
kinda
isn't
like-
it? It's like an archway.
It reminds me
It's
kind of
actually
like...
the background image.
Is that the one in the
behind
background there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're just playing in a tunnel underground.
Yeah, so it looks like it. Yeah, is that quite a new venue then in Chichester?
I don't think
No
so.
idea.
No, all right,
No, I think it's
But
been there a while.
Connor got us on that, I think, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, Connor organised all of that. It was
Kind of
really
reminds
good,
me of
actually.
Cellar
It was
in a
fun.
way, because you go down the steps and it's under.
Yeah, kind
But you
of.
actually can have a full band.
You could have a whole drum kit because
Yeah.
sadly you can't really do that in the cellar, which is a shame.
I
Wouldn't
wish we could.
That would be an
Yeah.
ideal place to.
I know if it was
do
only it was a
gig.
little bit bigger, but yeah.
And have you got a next gig or next gigs lined up yet, or is it or not
St.
yet?
Leonard's, isn't it? It's in a record shop. What's the record shop called?
Okay.
Tough Love.
Tough Love Records, yeah. that's it.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So you are getting out there. You actually
We're
getting
trying
out.
to. Yeah,
No,
we're
you
doing
are,
it.
though.
So
I mean, you know-
I'm not going to take credit. It's Helena. She mostly gets all the gigs and that.
You're the one who gets all the bookings. Yeah. Well, I mean that's it's not easy
No,
at the
you can
moment, is it?
knock on doors, ask, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but St. Leonard's is lovely. There's lots of really interesting little small venues.
I feel like the lack of venues in the local area has made Helena make more effort to get us out to different places in England. You know,
Well, that's because I mean, like the next one we're doing is going to be Bar 42, and of course, I think I probably met both of you at Bar 42,
Yeah.
or possibly in the shop.
Yeah, I met you at Train of
The
Thought.
Train of Thought, yeah. So, but and that was a big part of it. So, I mean, it's been a massive gap, hasn't it? Lack of 42, because you could get. I mean, I put you on, Alex, quite a while ago, and it was quite easy to get gigs there, wasn't it? And you're right, so that's where you got to go. But it's good to go further afield.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get things going at the Dickens, trying to get things
like
going
that.
at Audio Active, but then other than that, then you have to step up to the venue or the factory, and suddenly.
But good on you to go out and do it. I mean, how many gigs? How long have you been going now?
With Connor and Rob, probably since about September last
So
year.
it's still a sort of 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. So you've done quite a lot in that short time.
Yeah, they're really good at what they do. Like, it helps, and like we all get along, which definitely helps as well. Like, there's like barely any arguments. Like, we just jam and it just works and it feels right. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
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 So that's
there
really
are
important.
arguments
The amount of bands that don't, have to put up with each other.
It's so strange because we all have such different influences, but like when we come together, it just like sounds right.
What are your top 5 influences?
Doja Cat.
Really?
No. Doja Cat for all 5 of them.
And number 6.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Well, but what's your influences then?
Oh, different decades, different bands. I don't know, like
Can you name a
one
couple
from each
of
decade.
obscure ones that
Yeah.
might make us
Obscure.
scratch our heads, and I might have to Google
probably
them
not.
later.
No, I'm going to be honest. A lot of the bands most people know are like popular because of how original they were at the time.
Yeah.
So it's, I like the Damned. I like. I've mentioned Susie and the Banshees and the Stooges.
Yeah.
I even like other stuff influenced by like the White Stripes and
Okay.
garage
that
stuff.
kind of stuff.
So it's punk and garage, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main sort of influences, isn't it? Hint of goth, maybe, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
Little bit.
post-punk in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite in at the moment, isn't it? There's definitely quite a post-punk goth scene, isn't there? But
There's also a bit of metal in our sound as well. Like some of
Yeah,
our
not
stuff.
too heavy though. It's not like doomy metal. I mean, you do like being in Drop D,
Yeah.
but yeah, no.
well, you add a little bit of metal, don't you? I guess it's
Yeah.
guitar, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
think-
definitely, when I saw you in Orange, I thought there was a hint. Not
Yeah.
not sort of Iron Maiden or anything like that. But
And what are your plans going forward then for next year for Hissy and the Fits? Have you got things lined up like a EP launch or an album or merch or
We're recording
something?
an album in February, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, next month. And then we've got 3 gigs in London, and one of them's a Halloween festival all day, which I'm so stoked and excited for.
That was a mixture of
excited.
stoked and psyched. That came
Yeah, I was like,
that's a whole new thing, yeah.
but yeah, I'm really excited for it because I'm going to make everyone dress up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're going to do that. It's going to be fun.
That's obviously Halloween coming up. Yes, of course, yeah. But that's the thing, because gigs are booked a long way ahead now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really strange because we just got approached by a promoter and they were like, we want to put you on a few shows. Like, can we also book you in October? I know it's really far in advance. And I was like, no, that's fine.
It's always good to have things to look forward to down the line, isn't it?
I think
Yeah.
it's better. Well, because you can promote it more.
Well, you can promote it more, definitely, yeah. But what was your best or favourite gig in Worthing last year? I mean, one you went to, not one you... you
Got your own one.
You can have one you played yourself if you want. But
I don't know if I went to any. I think the last gig in Worthing I would have went to would have been at the Beloved 42, to be honest with you.
okay, yeah. But you've been...
Mine would be the punkish
Noisy
noises.
Day.
Yeah. Or I went to see the Linkin Park tribute at the Factory, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good tribute band, and yeah.
I didn't know, but yeah, not that I...
Well, you came to Radioactive Decay at Audio Active as well.
Oh my
didn't you?
gosh, yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about
you were
that.
there, you were there.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, yeah, that was really
know,
fun as
just
well.
mentioning
Yeah,
that,
sorry.
like,
Yeah,
it has
that was
to be in
really
your
fun
top
as
10.
well. To be fair, all of the gigs I've been to in Worthing this year have been good, so it's hard to pick just one. But they were all so different. So it's
Well,
yeah.
there's quite a variety at the moment, isn't there? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I know we haven't got quite. Well, this year, hopefully, we are moving on. You know, more Audioactive, more Charles Dickens and stuff like that. But it is quite diverse, isn't it?
Yeah, the spectrum goes from like jazz, dubstep, like Afro beats to like metal. It's like a whole wave of music.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
no,
what
it is
that
good.
is, what-
It's quite a lot for a small town, you know.
So you've got quite a lot booked in, and you've done quite a lot already for a band that's only been going for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
I was thinking of maybe trying to put together a lineup for a gig in February somewhere local in Worthing. I'm not sure what venue would be available, but for Safe in Sussex, it was a charity my mum worked for, and I just want to kind of like raise awareness for them and some
I
money.
think you'd
if
be
I can.
struggling and getting anywhere in February now because it's
Well,
quite
yeah,
close.
that's
I mean,
true,
probably
yeah.
more like March because everywhere is booked reasonably. Places like the Cellar and the Dickens, there might be something available at the Dickens.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or Audio
I do
Active,
love
maybe.
the Dickens. Like it's,
Well, it's
such
getting
a,
better, isn't it?
oh, it's such a good pub. It's like it's sometimes a bit rowdy, but that's why I quite like it.
Yeah.
It's got potential. There's lots going on there that we're going to
Yeah.
discuss.
It's
in
got
the
such
future.
a good space as well. Like the downstairs bit, it's
The space is great. You can't break it. That's what I like about it. It's a solid room. You know what I mean? There's nothing breakable there, is there? I mean, literally, if there's anything kicks off, not but
They won't be able to hear it upstairs if anything kicks off.
well, no, that's true. Anything could go on down there, couldn't it? But,
No, it's fun because when you go to the upstairs bit as well, there's like 2 ways to get to the bar.
yeah,
Like that's always quite funny.
they
when you
need to
bump
improve the
into
bar,
someone.
but that's another
bit of a
matter. Yeah,
maze,
they need
but-
to open the bar downstairs.
Yeah,
think,
no,
which
I think so
probably
too.
would help.
They will. They
Okay.
probably will.
They
So
probably
we'll
will.
have to look out for a Safe in Sussex kind of fundraising gig. For
Yeah,
to see if it fits,
potentially.
Last
I-
time we played, it was last time we played in Worthing was Bar Orange. Kev was at that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was at that one. Yeah,
It was
which is an
What did you
interesting place.
think?
Yeah, I just don't like the layout there, but that's
Yeah,
not
that's something else,
that's
isn't
the
it?
fault of
Yeah,
the
no, I
building,
know
isn't
what you
it?
mean.
It could be really good.
They could try and do it in the outside bit in the summer.
That would be cool.
I remember back when Emily
be
worked there,
pretty
they had
packed
that as an
out.
idea.
But you can't do it very
Yeah.
late though there because the neighbours really kick off about the
'Cause
noise there.
it's a school
after
as
about
well
8%.
there.
Yeah, so. But, well, I think the Dickens. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to thank you both for coming in, and we hope to have you back later in the year. But also, we're hoping to put in a little bit of a video clip of your Chichester gig alongside this,
Oh,
and
cool. Thank you.
and come to future gigs. And we're also hoping to film.
And we'll
bits of future
definitely get a
gigs and
Training
put
Thought
them in.
Presents gig coming up as well.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
sweet.
definitely, yeah.
Awesome.
And the Punk Festival, but I'm still working on that.
That's work in progress, definitely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Get yourself down the train of thought.
Yeah.
buy vinyl,
Yeah.
or CDs, or T-shirts.
or our badges.
And the badges,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we put some badges in.
There we go.
Oh,
There's more.
hello.
Right. Oh, perfect timing.
drinking
That's
there.
the end of the interview. That's that.
Goodbye.
So that's a wrap from Carl and Kev, and thanks so much for watching the show.
And hope you watch the next one too.